Yeah, it's definitely different.
We've gone through this conversation already, so anyway, let's go.
You haven't cut that all. Go again.
Okay, alright.
I think giving glass of water is good.
Alright, Jake's getting some water.
You cannot be serious!
Are you not entertained?
Alrighty, welcome back to JT Tennis Talks, episode 2. If you hear a pole bouncing around in the background, we have a student here. I will not show his face because he does not want to appear on JT Tennis Talks, but he's there. Alright, let's get started. Again, welcome back. Today we have a special guest. It is the head coach here at Wellington Tennis Club where I work, the one and only Jake Eames. He's not here at the moment. He will be here shortly at some point, but I figured I'd just introduce who he is first before he gets here. If you have seen a couple of my videos on JT Tennis, Jake has actually appeared on a couple of them. He was actually the debut guest in the warm-up games. So check those out if you want to know what Jake looks like before he gets here, I suppose. Okay. If you haven't seen the last episode, do check it out, just so you know what's going to be happening in this show. Also, keep a running count on how many ums I do. Yeah, there's one. Mickey's picked it up. Okay. Relevant news. So, earlier this morning, Carlos Alcaraz won Madrid. He defeated Struff in 3 sets. And in the women's draw, Sabalenka defeated Swiatek, however you say it, in 3 sets also on the women's. Other relevant news, local news, state grade started over the weekend. The results from that were Faulkner defeated Royal South Yarra. Grace Park defeated Ilden Park. MCC versus Kooyong got underway, but it was declared a draw due to wet weather. And Tennis World versus North Ringwood did not commence due to wet weather. So if you haven't watched last week's episode, I play for North Ringwood, so we did not play. On the women's side, Grace Park defeated Harkaway. Beaumaris Lawn versus Kooyong was declared a draw due to wet weather. And Diggers Rest versus Royal South Yarra didn't commence due to wet weather. So, in case you didn't know, it was raining on Saturday. Okay, and that is it for the introduction. I'll be back with topic number 1 in a second.
You cannot be serious!
Are you not entertained?
Okay, welcome back. So, topic number 1. Basically, last week, sorry, just burped, I caught up for a bit of a hit and giggle with a couple of my mates. Shout out to Matthew Romios, the Wombat, and Willis. So, last week, I asked him a hypothetical question, and they both answered me. I recorded them. So here is the audio that I recorded. Here we go. Now, just keep in mind, I did make a mistake when I was asking Rom, the Wombat, this question. It was a subtle mistake, but anyway, you'll hear it. Okay. Wombat. 5 best servers in the world. So who did we have? We had Kiggs, Opelka, Isner, Cressy, Fritz. All right, so there's our 5. So the challenge is you choose one of them to hit a target in the service box. They get 1 chance. If they miss it, you're arse up. The other 5 get 5 serves each at you from 3/4 court. Who are you choosing to knock over that cone?
It has to be Kiggs. It has to be Kiggs. He just hits the lines like every serve. Every serve he hits the lines. I have to pick Kings.
Alright, Rom's going Kings.
Okay, so that was Matt Romios, the Wombat. His nickname's the Wombat. Well, my nickname for him is the Wombat. So he's gone with Kiggs. It's a pretty fair call there. I'd be picking Kiggs as well. Anyway, and now for Will, his answer.
No. Alrighty, Willis. 5 best servers in the world, in our opinion anyway. We've got Kiggs, Opelka, Isner, Fritz, and Cressy. The challenge is you choose one of them to have one serve at a target. If they miss it, the other 4... Well, first off, if they miss it, you're arse up, and the other 4 get 5 serves each at you from 3/4 court. Who are you choosing to save your ass?
Probably Kiggs.
Kiggs?
Kiggs. Mainly because I don't want Kiggs serving the 5 at me from 3/4 court.
Alright, we've got Kiggs again.
Okay, so as you heard, both of them chose Kiggs to save their asses from hopping it by the other people. By the way, if you didn't pick up on the mistake I made with Rom, basically I said choose one to save you and the other 5 have to serve you. I got that wrong. It's the other 4 get to serve you. Anyway, but just on that, imagine walking through like Oz Open or something and you're seeing just some random spectator or some random person just ass up in the service box and having Opelka, Isner, Cressy, and Fritz lining up to just unleash 5 serves into your cheeks. Right. That would be fun. That wouldn't be fun, would it, Mickey? He's not listening. Okay. Mickey, can you tell Kaboom to just be quiet when he comes in? Anyway, so on this topic, basically what I wanted to say was, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what I personally would think would qualify someone having a good serve or what makes someone a good server. The number one thing for me would be the hold rate, how often players are holding serve. The second thing would be serves unreturned. Self-explanatory. The third thing would be the quality of returns that generally come back. So when a server is serving, are they getting pretty simple, easy balls that are coming back, or are they getting put under the pump sort of thing? So that's something I look at as well. And the last thing I typically look at is how many points they convert or win on their second serves. So those are the 4 things that I would look at when I'm determining how good of a server someone is. If they're not holding at a good rate, if they're not really getting any free points, if they're not, like I said earlier, if they're getting put under the pump after the serve, and if they're winning almost no points off the second serve, then to me, they are not a great server. They're not someone that I'd be calling a good server. That's my opinion. I'm not sure what everyone else will be thinking, but yes, if you have an opinion on the matter, do DM me or comment your thoughts. What would you think, or what would your checklist be if you were looking at someone's serve? What would make them a good server? And also comment who you would choose from that list, so those 5 people. So we had Kiggs, Kyrgios, Isner, Opelka, Fritz, and Cressy. Is that 4 Americans? Yeah, it is. It's 4 Americans. So pick who you would choose out of that list, who you would want serving at that target to save your butt cheeks from potentially 20 serves from 3/4 court from people that can easily hit 220 Ks an hour. All right. So, DM me, comment on the video, your thoughts on the serves and who you would pick. All right. I'll catch you guys when Jake gets here. Alrighty.
You cannot be serious!
Are you not entertained?
Okay. Welcome back. Basically, Jake still isn't here. So I filmed this before Jake got here, but I'm going to slip the sections that I have Jake in before this. So anyway. Okay. All right. What is up, guys? So, as this camera is going to see in a second, Jake is here. Yeah, he's the guest of the show today. If you don't know who Jake is, he's been in a couple of my videos already. The warm-up game series, my debut series on my JT Tennis channel. He was the guest on that series and on a couple others as well. Yeah, he's the head coach here at Athletic Tennis in Wellington Tennis Club. If you don't know what he looks like, check out either my videos or check out Athletic Tennis on Instagram or his own personal Instagram. I'm sure he's got photos of himself there too. So anyway, topic for today, or first topic for today. Heard a lot of opinions about it, heard a lot of people speculating, is it true, is it not true? Does being a tennis coach help you become a better player?
Yeah, it's a really difficult one, that one. I think there's two sides of the coin there. Firstly, definitely yes. I think getting on court really starts to help you view the game externally to yourself. So I know a lot of players, when you are a player and playing everything, a lot's internal,
Yeah.
and you only think about yourself and you can't really see what's maybe going on externally from you. So definitely jumping on court and doing some coaching, you start to see the game from the side of the court.
Yeah.
You start to help players with their technique, their body language, you know, their strategy and decision making, that sometimes when you're caught up in the emotion of playing yourself, it's a little bit more difficult to see. Technical side is a huge one. I think sometimes when you're helping players, you start to see the advantages and different disadvantage of certain swing techniques.
Yeah.
And returning back to the court, that really helps as well to break down opponents. Because tennis in a way is it's all pattern recognition.
Yeah.
You know, and the more you get to see of it close up, the easier it is, you know, to play certain plays and understand what I need to do to achieve my goals for that match, or you know, to get more wins really. From the other perspective, though, it depends on what coaching you are doing. If you're out coaching at a lower level using different grips, you know, hitting with players with poor intensity, not moving your feet, that's when I've seen coaching maybe be a little bit more detrimental to the player. So if you can get on court and be coaching a decent level, or even if it's a weak level, but you're not actually playing, you're off to the side a little bit and can and be on the side of the court and controlling the session. There's so many good benefits to see the game in different perspective. That's going to help your own tennis IQ and knowledge to improve you as a player for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I sort of answer this in sort of a physical and physical and mental aspects. Physically, going off me personally, physically, the way I play as a player and the way I've always played as a player, very different to how I play as a coach.
Yeah.
I sort of thought to myself that if I brought player me onto the court with kids coaching, I'd have a terrible retention rate. I'd have parents going, like, he's just smacking winners everywhere. Like, he's like, my kid can't hit any balls, that sort of thing. So, yeah, so it sort of takes me away from physically how I would play. Obviously, the lower intensity in coaching as well.
Yeah.
A few bad habits like thinking, or like hitting a good shot and thinking the point's done at coaching. It's not going to be done in matches in the level that I play. So on the physical side, it takes away what I'm comfortable with or what I was comfortable with as a player.
Yeah.
But on the other end of that, I have probably improved the most in my life since I've been coaching full time.
Yeah.
And that has been, like you said, just the kind of like the outer body experience, being able to see tennis from different perspectives, being able to see where a lot of the kids struggle and noticing these patterns where most people struggle, certain things, and being able to exploit that when I do go on the court and play matches. So I don't physically feel confident in what I'm doing, but I also feel tactically able to attack certain things with what I've got, or how I'm feeling on the day, sort of thing. So Yeah.
No, I definitely had coaches, I guess, when I was playing saying, I don't care if the ball doesn't feel good on the strings, you know. Um, I don't really care that much necessarily how you're feeling in this moment, you know. And I think coaching, you're doing that a lot, right? You're coaching kids and trying to help them. And how it feels off the string doesn't matter. You just got to put the ball where it needs to
Yeah.
go to make the drill work best.
Yeah.
And again, not getting caught up in everything you're feeling and feeling emotion from being a player where you're getting kind of really sensitive on every stroke, and if you're feeling the confidence drop and whatnot, I think coaching really just gets you to step away from yourself, think about the other person a little bit more, and you actually start to see the other person breaking down, the other person's weaknesses, rather than just being so having the microscope over your own weaknesses yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree there. Yeah, no, that went pretty well. Like, yeah, it's the way you described it is pretty much how I've sort of thought about it. I haven't been able to put into words. I thought about this for probably like 4 days, so I had a little bit more time to think about it than you did, and you probably came up with a better answer than me. But yeah, so like I said, for me personally, over probably the span of 4 or 5 years where I have been coaching full time, as a player, I felt like typically on my forehand, it's sort of gone down in quality a little bit because I don't have the chance to really practice hitting it full pelt. But on the other end, like I'm still able to win a lot more matches that I wouldn't have been able to win probably 5 years ago. Getting through, just tactically being able to get through matches that previously I would have just relied on my forehand to just hit endless winners throughout those. And if it broke down, I wouldn't have known what to do. But going through this coaching spurt and really committing to coaching, I've sort of seen things that have obviously helped. So yeah, so yes and no. It coaching definitely makes you a better player, but yeah, like I said, there are certain things depending on the style of player you are as well. There are certain things that obviously on the coaching court you wouldn't be doing too much. Like I'm not going to jump in court and just blast winners through everyone every ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's gone down a bit, but in general, I reckon.
I think it just helps just more broader areas of your game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you might
like
help.
the little things aren't so important. Like, as long as like the general gist of what you're doing and understanding what you're doing is there.
You definitely have to find a coaching combination where if you're a player, your day's got to be about being a player.
Yeah.
But if you can sprinkle some bit of coaching in throughout the week, I think you're definitely going to benefit from it.
Yeah.
And also it is great just give back to young players as well. I think like as part of why I got into coaching as well, one, because I love tennis, but also as well, I've kind of been through a similar journey as a lot of these kids, and you see the hurdles along the way and where you may have stumbled and how to improve that if you did have your time back again. So it is good to give back to kids who are wanting to pursue tennis as well. So there's a couple good reasons why players should try and stay a little bit in touch with the game and give back as much as possible. And as we discussed, they can reap some benefits themselves for being players as well.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. That answers that question. We'll be back in just a minute or two with the very next segment, so stick around.
You cannot be serious!
Are you not entertained?
Okay. Welcome back to the next segment. How you feeling, Eamesy?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Still struggling where to look, but
all good. Wherever you want to look. If you want to look that way, you can. Yeah. Okay. Very next topic. It's about your coaching style and philosophy. I've had the pleasure of working alongside you since 2019, the end of 2019, and I've particularly enjoyed it. Your coaching style, I always sort of like listen into what you're telling the kids and always taking in what the themes you have in the squads and stuff. I really think of you as a coach with an extra dimension. I've come across a lot of coaches. I've worked at a few clubs where the coaches are very two-dimensional. They see a problem, they have their own personal solution. It's like, cool, it's done. But being with you for as long as I have, and we've had heaps of chats in the car park, and I always see you, like, in your brain, it's like, you're noticing these problems, you're coming up with solutions, but you're also like debunking them as well. It's like, oh, but it could be a case where it doesn't work here as well. We've got to think of other ways to fix that. And there's like layer upon layer upon layer of things that you're thinking about for even simple things, just hitting forehands or hitting backhands. So I'm just curious of how that's developed over time, and yeah, just talk a bit about your coaching philosophies.
Yeah, geez, it's a pretty big question, I guess. How it's developed and probably the way I think, I guess, is like most people, it's due to experience. For me, I was fortunate enough to spend time on the court quite a bit with good coaching. I was a decent junior, so
I think you were a very good junior.
had some years there with Wally Mercer,
Yeah.
who was around 20 in the world and Davis Cup manager as well.
Yep.
And the way he saw the game and listening to him every day,
Yeah.
it just trickles into your own
Yeah.
own IQ, I guess. And there's actually times where I find myself saying things to kids, and it just triggers a memory of like
Yeah.
Wally said the same thing to me as well.
Yeah.
And there's the same when I was a little bit older as well. I worked with Alan Jones, who was right on the 100 in the world as well, and played all the slams. And they were very, I guess, simple, and they would make things very complex, very simple.
Yeah.
That was what they did. When there wasn't really a necessity to speak, they really didn't. And every time they spoke, they was kind of like to the point,
Yeah.
and hit the nail on the head type advice. So I've kind of tried to take a lot of what I've learned from other people who have had such great careers in tennis, and bring that in, I guess, to my own approach, to how I teach the game. But the next part as well for me is experience as playing myself. In like a business, you always want to think like, yeah, let's just have this model,
Yeah.
and let's just replicate it, and let's make this like a factory style academy where you just reproduce the same type of player all the time.
Yeah.
I think tennis, it's very difficult to do that.
It is, yeah.
I've been in Europe where guys have had full Western forehands and huge big loops that go behind their bodies and all sorts of funky stuff going on, and they're chopping you 2 and 2.
Yeah.
So it kind of opened my eyes up to that. There's so many ways to play tennis, and there's so many ways to hit a ball. So is trying to keep my mind really open to the solutions to how to be a good player. Is key. I think we've spoken recently, I think in the car park once, about
Had a few of those talks, yeah.
like being too quick to judge players as well. We spoke about if I saw Cameron Norrie, and someone said, you got 5 minutes to to change his game. You would look at his backhand, for example. But if you watch him for 2 months, you'd be like, I'm not touching that thing. That's just zinging flat into all righties, heavy forehands, and just causing absolute havoc day in, day out. So being really open to so many different unique styles, unique personalities is what I've tried to, I guess, bring into my coaching, and try to, within the team environment, still look for that individualistic approach, I guess. And that kind of developed a philosophy for me, which is enjoy, learn, play, and compete, which is more, I guess, about reminding yourself that enjoying the game is one of the most important things.
Yeah.
I think if before you start learning, you've got to really enjoy it. I think to learn properly and be open to
exactly.
to learning the game. So. It's very difficult, I think, for some players who want to go pro or want to play a high level. Is you can easily forget that I started tennis because I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it, yeah.
And learning for me is a little bit more about quality coaching, and playing for me is more about quality hours, quality volume.
Yeah.
So it's really open to, I guess, interpretation of exactly what you're specifically doing.
Yeah.
But that for me is, enjoy, learn, play, compete is a bit of a cycle where after competing, you just remind yourself to enjoy it again, learn, play, compete, and just kind of go around.
Yep.
And through that process, I think you're going to develop like varying players,
Mhm.
and not everyone's going to be the same. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I think I can't remember when exactly this was, but I can't remember who said it as well. When I think we played a game here during the squad, and then this person was doing another squad somewhere else and said, "Oh, let's play this game." And apparently they really loved it. And we just sort of said, like, are they just not playing any of these games? Are they just doing here's some cross court forehands or here's some
Yeah.
downline forehands for the 2 hours that they do it?
Yeah.
How important is it to take a little bit of the edge off, play a really fun game, but that has a very specific theme for certain scenarios in matches? Because
Yeah.
I personally think that that's so important. Like one of the most
Yeah.
important things if you're doing group training, like
Yeah.
group squads and stuff.
Yeah. I think definitely group games brings competition. I think when you bring competitive play, you're going to bring in strategy.
Yeah.
You're going to bring in a bit of high level of motivation to win, and that's where you learn a lot, I think.
Yeah.
And tennis is such a fast sport that it's very difficult to think under pressure with
Yeah.
limited time. And practicing competitive play, it makes you think really quickly.
Yeah.
You don't really get to stop and think too much about it. And
Yeah.
it's one of those things where you're just going to have to, if something didn't go well, you have to kind of reflect on it,
Yeah.
digest it, learn, and be quicker at processing that next time.
Yeah.
So I think competitive play is a huge benefit, and I think starting sessions with fun competitive warm-ups is a great way to begin a session as well. Just sometimes you get kids from school as well who rock up tired from a full day at school and they've only had an hour just to drive to the courts.
Yeah.
So fun games can just get everyone alive and active and engaged quickly.
Yeah.
And then the skill component, like if you look at Alcaraz now, obviously Kyrgios, Davidic Fokina, for example, like the shots they're pulling off, the droppies and everything.
Yeah.
It's not like they're under pressure and they come out and they pull the right shot at the right time out of nowhere. They've done heaps of games or heaps of drills to practice those shots. So that's got to come from somewhere. Like I've actually seen, when I'm at tournaments with kids, parents and coaches around,
Yeah.
and just saying like, oh my God, like, how's he missed that drop shot, or how's he missed that lob, or that smash put away, or whatever. And there's the drop shot in particular is like, well, how many hours do you reckon he's practiced that in the last 2 years? There's something that kind of gets those extra skills get left behind, and I think games are a way to like improve those skills in a fun environment.
Yeah.
And you look at like Nick Kyrgios, I used to see him a lot in Canberra as I grew up there, and has heaps of arse, which you can't play anymore, but basically it's mini tennis.
Yeah.
Hours and hours and hours of that, like sometimes getting to the court before practice just to play 30 minutes of that before you start, for fun.
Yeah.
And a lot of the feel stuff you see he'd pull off is from just hours of practicing it, really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I see how those field shots just do get neglected a lot. Like it would look a bit weird if I was just standing there on court and just like hand feeding someone to hit droppies for however long until they got it right. And if we're talking about maybe a player who doesn't have the best natural feel, it could take ages for them to finally get 2 or 3 in a row for good. So I can see how those things would get left behind, but yeah, they are so important. Just the natural, or just being able to improvise on the spot.
Yeah.
Is so important in tennis.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
also
good to have those games where you can bring those out and they're fun. So everyone's trying to actually improve on them. And like, there's a lot of trash talk here, especially between some of the kids. So they don't want to cop it too much. So they try and give a bit back. So
yeah, obviously there's like, things like the serve and forehand, which are just going to be, super dominant in terms of what you need to work on, physicality as well. But it is just, those extra little games help you just become a more rounded player.
Yeah.
I think keeping up, if you want to be a good player as well, to keep up with like today's game, you got to just keep being more and more well-rounded.
Yeah.
Like serve and volley was huge, let's say like 30
Back
40
when,
years ago, 30 years ago or so. and then topspin came in, and coming forward was just, just almost silly, because people are dipping balls at your feet, flicking angles, flicking lobs. Now you see people super deep in the court, and serve volleys like coming back. Alcaraz is a perfect example of like, if you're going to sit that deep, I will throw in a serve volley. I will just drop shot you. So yeah, it's not overdoing it and not letting that be like the core focus of sessions. Because just having those skills or being really good at those skills won't make you a good player. But having the extra skills around it, like the core fundamentals of a great player, like it'll give you the advantage for sure.
Definitely.
Over a lot of players, and like we spoke about before, there's a lot of ways to win matches, and sometimes those skills can become even more important in certain days where things aren't working, and you've got some other skills to rely on.
Yeah. Awesome. That answered that question. Thanks for jumping on this episode.
No worries.
I'll definitely have you on more. But if you haven't seen Jake, when this episode's released, obviously watch the whole episode, because he's dropping some wisdom, some nuggets of wisdom, some truth bombs, and I don't even know what the lingo is these days.
I think you just said wisdom nuts there for a second.
Nuggets of wisdom nuts. They could go as well. And check out the couple JT tennis videos where he's on, so you can see how good he still plays. And just for now, like, list a few of the players that you've actually worked with in the last 12 months. So we got Koobs.
The last 12 months, I guess, Koobs, Millman, Lizette Cabrera. They're the main three, I guess, in the last 12 months that I've done some work with. All really good players, all completely different to each other, and all three like awesome people as well.
And Eamesy still jumps in court to rally a few ballers, to have a few little points here and there with them, and he's doing well. So go check it out. See what kind of quality tennis you can still produce, and follow Athletic Tennis on Instagram. Or if you are in the Mulgrave area or anywhere in Victoria and you want some elite level training, we can cater for it here at Athletic Tennis. So come on down.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thanks for coming on.
No worries. Thank you.
You cannot be serious!
Are you not entertained?
Thanks for watching this episode of JT Tennis Talks. Things to finish off with, to send you on for the rest of your day. Subscribe and follow so you know when new episodes drop. Remember, state grade. If your club is representing state grade, well, if your club is one of the teams in state grade, go and follow, go and support, go and watch some quality tennis. Next week, my team, North Ringwood, is playing at North Ringwood. So if you are in the area and you're not busy, come down and watch. Check out jttennis.com for some merch, those cheeky little hoodies and some t-shirts that I've got up there. Personal favorite at the moment is the Captain Hook hoodie. Not calling myself a hook, but even though I said in the last video that I have intentionally hooked a few times in my life. But anyway, comment, DM, keen to read what most of you have to say about, obviously, the topic of serving and any other questions you might have. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Cheers.
You cannot be serious!
Are you not entertained?